What's happening, beautiful people? What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to Grateful Panic Knife Reviews. I'm so glad that you stopped by, and I hope at the end of the video you are too. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to come from not so much a position of educating, but maybe a position of putting things into perspective, putting things into more relatable terms for everybody. Well, for everybody in the knife community, people in particular that would be watching this video. Brother Scabs over at Choir Boys Cutlery is a huge proponent of the 22 a day movement, which basically is making people aware of the fact that on average 22 veterans a day in their lives, because to put it bluntly, in their eyes the alternative is a lot less appealing, and that's really sad. And I know, if you're someone who's never been in the military period, it's really hard to understand why, like what would push them to the point that they feel that there's no hope. And I mean, you think, oh, well, they've seen horrible things, and that does something to a person, and it does, it really does. But there's a lot more to it, even for those that never see combat. There's a lot more to it, and I wanted to put those things into perspective and make them more relatable to the people that would, the type of people that would be watching this video, which those are the people that I can reach. Those are the people that I can make a difference with. And at the end of the day, we all just, kind of want to make a difference. And before we get into that, let's do just a real quick panic dump and beverage check. And today I was carrying the Monterey Bay Knives Mini Old Guard and the Monterey Bay Knives Field Trekker. And it was a day off, so I really wasn't carrying. I did have a hank on me, but that's just to clean the spectacles. As far as the beverage check goes, today we're drinking on a little bit of Lagunitas, the Waldo's Special Triple Ale, and we're going to be opening it with my my Canada bottle opener from Mr. Michael Morgan. And today, honestly, I just want to give a big, hearty, grateful panic cheers to all of you, because you're all special. You all make a difference. I mean, I can honestly say you all make a difference in my life. And I left the window open, so there's a fruit fly buzzing around up here. But you all make a difference in my life. So cheers to each and every one of you. Okay, so 1 second. There we go. I'm going to try and put things in more relatable terms as far as what would push a veteran to the point where ending their own life seems like the best solution to everything. And I want you guys, all right, I'm going to put out a scenario, and I want you guys to hold on to this for a little while. Just kind of keep this in your mind. But think about in your day-to-day life, the people that you interact with. When you start talking about knives and, detent on a knife, the centering on a knife, G10, titanium, just all the various terms that go along with knives and EDC equipment, and you notice that kind of glazed over look that they get on their face, kind of like none of it is sinking in, none of it is registering at all. Now hold on to that look that you see on people's faces whenever you talk about knives and other EDC gear. When just your average Joe going into the military. It's normally somebody fresh out of high school, doesn't have any college education. Basically, it's, a patriotic young man or woman that just wants to serve their country. So they enlist into the military. Now, you keep in mind that up until this point, they've been living with their parents their whole life. They've never really had to worry about rent or health insurance or, paying bills, anything like that. So they join the military. And from the time they're in the military until the time that they ETS, that's not really none of bills, rent, where their next meal is coming from, their medical insurance, picking a doctor, buying work clothes, any kind of work equipment. None of that is a concern for them because the government takes care of it all. And as they should, because, these young men and women have enough on their plate just in general, they shouldn't have to worry about those things. But so while you're in the military, you don't have to worry about any of that. Even rent until, say you get married and move off post and you move into an apartment. But even then, you get an extra stipend from the military that is specifically for paying your rent, and you get a stipend that is specifically for buying groceries for you and your spouse and then your children when they come along. I mean, the more dependents you have, the larger that stipend grows. So add to that, every day, day in, day out at work, you're coming in contact with like-minded people. You're all into the same, as far as your job goes, you're into the same things. And on top of that, even if it's peacetime or you're not in a combat situation, always in the back of your mind is the thought that, Joe Blow that you're talking to here in the motor pool while you're PMCS and you're Bradley, when it comes down to it, he's got your back and you've got his back. In a life or death situation, you've got each other's back. And that's, whether it's in the forefront of your mind or not, that's something that's always on your mind. And then you take these guys and girls and you put them in a combat situation, and that thought of having that person's back and them having your back becomes a reality. And every day, day in, day out, you have that person's back. They have your back. And then on top of that, if you're put on the front line, if you're put in an actual firefight, that thought becomes a reality, as far as you do now actually have that person's life in the palm of your hands and they have yours. Every little decision you make affects the life of that person next to you and vice versa. Every decision they make affects your life. So, that's a lot to have on your mind right there. And so, God providing you make it through that, and your buddy makes it through that, and you come out on the other side. You've been through that, and that's what your mind has become conditioned to. So fast forward, and I'm basically breaking this down into the shortest possible amount of time and the simplest terms. So, I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody that has dealt with these life and death situations. I'm not making light of it at all, in the very least. It's if anything, I'm trying to do the opposite. But anyway, so you come out on the other side. It comes time for you to ETS and go back to the real world. Well, for all these years, however many years you've been in service, this is how your mind has functioned. These are the things that you've become accustomed to, that when it comes to life and death situations, that person that's next to you at work, they know exactly what you've been through. They know exactly how you're feeling, what you're going through now, and you can talk to them, Well, when you ETS out, on top of the fact that you're not given a lot in your benefits, you're, to put it bluntly, I mean, and I know things may be different now, even though I have talked to some guys and girls that have, gotten out of service recently, and things seem like they're kind of the same as they were 22 years ago when I got out. But I know from my experience, when you get out, you're not told a lot of, a lot of the benefits that you're entitled to, and a lot of the resources that are available for you, and you kind of feel like you're on your own. So, just even if you've never been in combat, now all of a sudden you're thrown into the position of you have to worry about how you're going to put a roof over your head, how you're going to put food on the table, how you're going to provide health care for yourself. Just a number of things that you haven't really had to worry about for the past 4, 5, 6, 20 years, Now, remember earlier when I asked you to, keep in your mind the look that people get on their face when you start talking about knives or EDC gear, that dazed look, that glazed over expression that they get. Now, imagine that you've got this demon on your back that is tormenting you day in and day out about all the things that you've seen, all the things that you've done, all the things that your brothers and sisters in arms have done and seen. And anybody that is available for you to talk to gets that same dazed, glazed over look in their eyes, like it doesn't really register. It begins to seem kind of pointless. Everything begins to seem kind of pointless. Like nobody can relate to you. You don't fit into society anymore. Society's not for you, and a lot of people end up going back to the military just because that's what they know, that's what they're comfortable with, and it starts that cycle all over again. And as a veteran, when you talk to people nowadays, and the vast majority of them, they just kind of seem flippant as far as military service. Oh, well, you were in the Army, cool, how was it? Did you kill anybody? It's not, you don't get a whole lot of thank you for your service, or I appreciate what you did for this country. So add to that the fact that you don't have that camaraderie anymore. You don't have people surrounding you that have had similar experiences, that have gone through similar things, that can give you advice on how to deal with the things that are troubling you, on how to deal with the things that are basically making life unbearable. Those demons that rattle around in your head every day and every night, those demons that won't let you sleep at night. So then you go through your days with, inadequate rest. You're exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, and there's literally nobody that you can talk to that you feel like can actually relate. And that's when, that ending your life seems like the best alternative, because at least then you don't have to suffer through that anymore. And that's what these men and women out there are going through every day. And yeah, they need each and every one of us, to reach out that hand and say, hey, somebody's here for you. But what they really need is that person that's been through it, that they can talk to, that person that can look them in the eye and say, hey brother, hey sister, I've been where you're at. Look at me now. I came out on the other side and I'm doing pretty good, and this is how I did it. Because just having somebody tell you everything's going to be okay, that's all well and good, but if you don't know what steps to put in order to get to where everything's okay, I mean, then you're no better off than you were before that person told you that everything's going to be okay. So honestly, what these men and women need are the people that have been through it, that are okay, to reach out their hand and hold that veteran's hand and lead them through the fire to the other side until they're okay. And until we have that, I don't think things are really going to get much better. Yeah, they'll get, we'll see the numbers drop, but they're not going to drop drastically. They're not going to drop down to zero where they should be anytime soon or ever. So, and when you come across that person that's hurting like that and has been through things that you can't imagine, you can't understand, at least be there for them, and which I know you will. I know each and every one of you will, because I don't know you guys personally, but I know you guys, and anybody that's subscribed to this channel, they're good people. And they'll say, hey, I haven't been through what you've been through, but hey, I've been through this. It may not measure up, but this is how I dealt with it. And maybe, I can give you some advice on how to deal with what you're going through. And if not, I'll do my best to find somebody who can. But honestly, I really just wanted to, for those people out there that can't fathom, that can't empathize, but really, really want to, I just kind of wanted to put things in perspective and say, hey, this is what's pushing these men and women to the point where their best option is ending it all. Basically, they feel like an alien. They feel like they don't fit in anywhere, and that's just a horrible, horrible way to feel, on top of dealing with the demons of what you've seen and what you've done. And you don't have that support system that you're used to around you in order to deal with those things. So let's do what we can to bring these numbers down. Let's bring it down to 0 a day. I know it sounds impossible, but nothing's impossible. We can find a way to do it. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to this rant. And I appreciate each and every one of you, and just in general. Thank you for being you, and thank you for all the support that you've given me. And I appreciate you stopping by, and you are more than welcome to come back anytime. And until next time, guys, get on out there, EDC your ass off, and do something nice for somebody. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.